finish up with the fibromyalgia. I'm putting some finishing touches on that for a little bit, and we are going to submit that to you guys, that you can have a little booklet that you can use and utilize for that. But just in general, it doesn't have to be what we've been covering the last few weeks. It could be kind of anything goes, especially with it being health conditions. Let's go ahead and open it up for questions just for a few minutes before we jump in. We're going to do things associated with the digestive tract tonight. So go ahead and fire away.
And it should be all good for you guys to unmute if you wanted to ask a question. Happy to read your messages in the chat as well. Go ahead, Heidi.
So
It looks like Heidi's got, I mean, Tracy. No, it's Heidi. Hi, Heidi. You go first.
Mute me and say no. Oh, you can unmute me. Wait, we don't have a question. It was an accident. Hi, Greg. Tim.
Oh, just like Peggy. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you. I was wondering, for our digestion, some of the oils that we're going to be using tonight, so I can gather my oils together, and so I got them.
Rosemary, tarragon, anise, if you have it.
Is Palo Santo one of those that you're gonna?
No, not necessarily for this.
Okay.
Rosemary, tarragon, anise. Oh, basil.
Oh, basil. Great, thank you. I'll start gathering.
ENS support would be okay. But we're going to do some other things as well. We're going to deal with some stress and just like mild forms of insomnia.
Well, I think I said it wrong. What I meant to say was Palmarosa.
Oh, Palmarosa, we're not going to necessarily use that tonight, but we are going to talk about it just a little bit.
Okay, I thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Again, we're working on digestion tonight. I just put in a few of the oils Greg said. So if you don't have those, don't worry about it. But I did just put them in there. Let me look.
But you can ask any questions right now. Anything goes. I want to give you guys plenty of time for Q&A.
Go ahead, Letty Dunlar.
Hey, Letty.
Oh, hi, Greg. Really quick, I have a question. I have a coworker who recently got some blood work done, and she said her blood, I'm not sure if it's platelets or platelets. How are they? Yeah, they were too high. So what is that from normally? I mean, do people associate right away with cancer?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, but just the platelets were too high.
Yes, and then they're gonna have to send her to a specialist. But just wondering.
Yeah.
I mean, she's kind of young. She's like in her. She's like.
Yeah, hard to say. Like you would need to have like more information to. I mean, it could be several different things that could be popping up from that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Has she been sickly? Why did they do the blood panel?
No, she hasn't been sick. I don't know. I guess she just wanted to do maybe some like just check on like a check.
And here's the other thing with like some of the blood work and stuff too is there's a lot of weird anomalies with COVID. And so even if they didn't get sick, but maybe they were able to fight it off or they got sick and got better, there's issues with the blood for a little while after the infection. And so I don't think anybody knows the full scope of what happens. But we've seen several situations where like the blood and oxygen kind of don't mix in the respiratory tract. You know, the blood gets in there, but the oxygen, you know, the blood doesn't get oxygenated in the blood. So there's been lots of incidences where, for one, there's a lot of clotting, which I think we've known for a while, but people will have normal oxygen levels and then get up and walk and their oxygen levels will drop substantially in their blood. And then they'll stop and rest or they'll sit down and then it normalizes. And so there's just who knows? Like with this thing, I would say I wouldn't jump to any conclusion. I just wait to see what the doctor says.
Okay.
And, you know, something's up, but it could be a response to all kinds of things. So,
So once she goes, I'll let you know then what happens
okay,
afterward.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Greg, I have one other quick question. On
Mhm.
behaviors, when kids show certain behaviors like in the classroom, I mean, is it possible that a kid behaves super, super bad at home, but then comes to school and you don't see any of those behaviors at school?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, it isn't possible. I think it's actually somewhat common.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we had an incident
And
today.
also vice versa.
Mhm.
Kids coming to school and acting out and then going home and being angels.
Mhm.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
we kind of have a situation, and like today, actually like one of my students was acting really weird. So then I called in the nurse, and then after the nurse came in, checked him out, because with special needs, like you never know, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes just things that he was doing, I thought, God, is he having a seizure or something? I just, we just don't know. And then you learn to see so many different forms of seizures, right? But I didn't, he's not a kid that gets them, but he was just acting really strange. Well, then the nurses, well, can you call the dad? And we called together for my classroom, and oh my God, it opened up a can of worms. The dad just started going off that the student is threatening him at home, that he's saying, I'm going to kill y'all, I'm going to kill myself. And he's autistic. But we don't see those behaviors at all at school. Like,
Yeah, you don't. Yeah. Plus, I was going to say you don't know the dynamics of what's happening in the household, so it's hard to say.
okay. And yeah, I just turned into this big old thing. I had like police officers in my room, I had administrators, and I came home with like a headache because I think it was like too much. Everybody came into my room, and then the dad wanted him to get escorted like to the hospital. So that even brought more police officers. Like, oh my goodness. It was crazy, but I just came home with a headache, and I just thought we were just kind of like thinking, we've been kind of like thinking about this for a while already, because we hear one story and then, like he comes to school and we don't see any of those behaviors. He's not aggressive towards us.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
I mean, it could be that we don't want to jump to conclusions, but who knows what the dynamics are in the household, and there could be siblings, there could be all kinds of things.
Greg, this is Laura.
Hey, Lauren.
How are you?
Doing good.
I don't have rosemary or anise. What would be alternatives?
Do you have
for me to
you have
grab?
tarragon or basil?
I have tarragon and basil.
Yeah, you'll be good.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Greg.
You're so welcome.
Hi, Greg, it's Malkia.
Hey, Makia, how are you?
I'm good. Question. I have
Yes, fine.
someone who's recovering from just finished chemo and radiation for
Okay.
throat cancer.
Right.
Is there anything they can do to help?
Yeah, several things. So when recovering from that, one of the things that I like to do is, because of the chemo, was there any complications with the chemo, by the way?
No.
Did they have any reactions? What's their appetite like?
Right now, very bad.
Yeah. You gotta get calories
nauseous.
in. Like
Right,
they
nauseous.
gotta get calories in. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I know they don't have an appetite and food doesn't taste good, but they gotta get, I mean, if it's, 7-Up and crackers, they gotta get some calories in. They
Okay.
just, that's the big issue with chemo is, and sometimes even the cancer itself is, it can cause a person to be malnourished. And so,
Okay.
they just got to get calories so the body can have the energy to, fight and normalize. So there's a couple of things that I like to do right off the bat after they go through chemo is I really like to go through and support the liver. That could look a lot of different ways. One of the things that the best thing that can be used is there's this oil called Greenland moss, and really good for helping the liver recover from the chemo treatments.
Okay.
It's a little bit expensive. I mean, it's not crazy, but I mean, I can't remember. It's like maybe $60, $65 for 5 mils. They're just going to be taking a couple of drops internally every day. They could build up. If they don't want to do that or can't afford that, like helichrysum would work, carrot seed, essential oil would work. I mean, worst case scenario, the least expensive oil that's, a lot of bang for the buck is lemon. It's just really slow when it comes to this.
Okay.
The Greenland moss is really fast. And
Okay.
so it's the one that I usually use with that.
Right.
That is key. Then I usually put them on also taking a couple, like 2 to like maybe 4 or 5 drops of black cumin in water. That can be from the health food store. That could be essential oil. It's not expensive essential oil. So it's usually cheaper to do the essential oil than it is the herb, because you can
Okay.
get a lot bigger dosage of it.
Right. Right.
Again, it helps to normalize the body, and it is really good for reducing the inflammation.
Okay.
And
he's
then
having
some
a
of the
lot
work
too.
that we're talking about tonight for sluggish digestion, it's going to be like I can just read off to you. We'll post it, but it says constipation and sluggish digestion.
Right. Okay.
You could go through and do that, but there is, like, I have one note in here. Let me look at, hold on just a second.
Uh-huh.
So, okay. So one of the things that can be done is to blend rosemary, verbena, anise, basil, and peppermint. You can just do equal parts.
Uh-huh.
So blend those all together and then put 2 or 3 drops in water and have them take that internally. And what that does is it helps to stimulate the digestive tract.
Okay.
And it also helps to stimulate the digestive tract, especially in situations where they're prone to spasms in the digestive tract. You're wanting to reduce any sort of cramping and spasms. The other one that you could use if there is no spasms involved is that blend excuse me, ANS support, which is tarragon, rosemary, and basil together. There's something else in it. Rosemary, tarragon, basil. There's some anise in it as well, I think. And that helps to jumpstart the nerves of the gut if there is no cramping. And so those are all key. For the sites where there is radiation being done, you can put, I usually mix it with aloe vera. You could use the tamanu oil or the Kalahari oil, the blend, the carrier oil.
Right. I love tamanu oils.
Yeah. So you could mix that with some, you can use something as simple as lavender, right? You can use lavender, but I usually mix lavender with some helichrysum in it. Because you're basically treating a burn site. And so after a little while, you can start mixing it up. One of the things that I'll do sometimes after a period of time has gone by is I'll switch from the lavender and helichrysum to calendula, the calendula CO2. And so, we have a really strong calendula and you mix it in. Again, you could do it in the base oil or with some aloe vera. The aloe vera is nice because it's soothing to burns as well. Yeah. Right. And so you could keep treating that spot, but the issue is it keeps getting reburned again.
Yes.
You know what I
well,
mean?
he's finished. He's finished.
Oh, he's
with
finished.
All of that.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. So I would probably stick with the lavender and the helichrysum, and then eventually probably switch to just the helichrysum or helichrysum with a little bit of rosemary verbena. So the issue that happens after the radiation and you're starting to heal the burn is because of where they're doing it, and there's been a surgery or just a lot of manipulation, is they have the burn and then they have the scar from the injury, so the whole area kind of goes into a little bit of like a spasm, and like there's a lot of fascial tension, and they'll have a lot of weird aches and pains that kind of start popping up as you start to unwind it, and so
It's
you
very
just have
painful.
to. What's that? Yeah,
Very-
yeah, it can be
yeah,
it can be
painful
very
right now. Mhm.
yeah, it can be very painful. So the helichrysum should take some of the pain out.
Okay.
If the pain and the black cumin should help reduce the pain too.
Okay.
If it still isn't enough, you can do a little bit of galbanum along with the black cumin, because the galbanum will diminish the sensitivity to pain. And so,
Okay.
I mean, it's not going to make it go away, but it takes the edge off. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, also because of the location, it would be good that he did some long, slow, deep breathing at some point. This is a lot to be throwing at him,
Yes.
or her, or whoever it is.
Yeah. Right.
uh,
Mhm.
Have them do long, slow, deep breaths with the hyssop, because the thing is like anytime you have a surgery, you have a little bit of a trauma, and then because of where it was at, the neck has been compromised. That is going to throw the breath off, and eventually what's going to happen is it's going to tighten up his diaphragm, and then it's going to start putting pressure on his spine. Like, it's like a chain reaction starts to happen. And so this will exaggerate pain mechanisms. I just had somebody who had a real severe respiratory condition. Well, basically they had COVID. And so, they had a bunch of clots in their lungs, and the clots are gone and everything. But what's happened is their diaphragm and their neck is so tight from strained breathing that, for one, they're not getting very good, deep breath. They're starting to have tachycardia because of the shortness of breath, but then they started having all these burning sensations down their leg, and they were really starting to freak out that they were just continuing to downward spiral after the COVID. And so I kind of laid out a little bit of this treatment plan, and I just started them with hyssop, right? And I said, okay, I want you to do this 48 hours, and then I want to see you, I wasn't seeing him in person, but I was like, you call me and let me know how you're doing in 48 hours. And like a week went by and I hadn't heard from him. And I was like, like I said, 48 hours, like, I wanted to follow up. And so I called him up and I was like, how's it going? And they're like, feeling better, everything's, because they were like thinking, they were having this tailspin and there was like really serious health issues. And they started breathing the hyssop even like while I was consulting with them, just real quick. And, they started feeling more relaxed. They started, taking deeper breaths. They got a good night's sleep. And I said, okay, so how about the pain in your legs? All the pain went away. And they were able to take deep breaths, and they were getting more oxygen saturation in the blood. All these things started happening, and we didn't even start the rest of the treatment. We were just tackling the deepening the breath, loosening the diaphragm and the neck from that with the hyssop, and it was already like probably 60 to 70% better. And so, people don't realize, like, when they have some sort of surgery in the neck, how much that's going to impact your respiratory function. So sometimes you'll get like somebody who has a surgery for a herniated disc, and they correct the disc, but because they went in through the throat, like, because a lot of times they have to go in through the front, it throws the neck and the diaphragm off, and that actually increases the tension in the spine. And so it's like it corrected one problem but caused another
Like
problem.
another, right.
Yeah, and so you anytime the neck's involved, like a whiplash, a surgery, you know, anything, you always like reestablish the breath, like always,
Okay.
always. And so that alone usually makes them feel somewhat better, because a short, rapid breath also exaggerates pain substantially. And so if you can deepen the breath, pain levels will go down just by doing that. And so
Okay.
the spot where the radiation happened, it hurts really bad. Like you know, the person's probably not even telling you how bad it hurts, but it's a painful one. And
Well, that's
so
the
how
issue, right? That's
what's
the
that?
issue with them right now, because they're trying to reduce the pain medication
Yeah.
intake, because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
concerned about that. Mhm.
Yeah, give them some galbanum and the black cumin, put the helichrysum on it topically. That should start helping, and then have them inhale the hyssop.
Okay.
You know, if they're trying to do that, like that should be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, and that's something very doable. And you know, you can worry about the Greenland moss later or something like that, but you know, get the person out of pain first. I mean, honestly, that's what I usually do. If a person's in pain, it's hard to treat other things because they're basically in crisis all the time.
Yes.
You know, it's not really super effective to go after treating something else when you're trying to get something else to get better. When they're in so much pain, it just becomes all consuming at some point.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So how often should they apply the galbanum and the black cumin?
They can do it once or twice a day.
Okay.
Yeah. It will help the area heal faster. It will minimize the pain. It will reduce swelling. It will start to calm down the sensory nerves. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the inhalations?
The inhalation, well, those you'll put in water and have them drink it. Like a couple
Okay.
drops each, right? And then the hyssop, you know, 15, 20 long, slow, deep breaths. Don't even worry about having them follow a pattern. Just have them hold the bottle to their nose and inhale.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Keep me posted on that, okay?
Okay, I will.
I feel bad when people are going through, you know, cancer treatments, because it's just a very uncomfortable time.
Yes, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely will keep you posted. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Cheryl?
Hey, Cheryl.
I don't know if you're talking, but we can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, can you hear me?
It's faint, but
It's
can you
fake,
hear-
but I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, what would you suggest someone take if they're suffering from reflux? When you-
Reflux, I mean, honestly, like, you know, we have a thing in here, even with some of the notes that we could probably talk about tonight. One of the easiest things to do is like aloe vera juice. If you just do some aloe vera juice, a lot of times that will knock that out. Sometimes I actually even will use apple cider vinegar. That will knock it out as well. Didn't you say
raw,
the raw apple cider vinegar?
The raw,
that-
right.
Yeah, the raw. Yeah.
And
yeah.
okay, that's not too harsh for the body.
It can be for some. For me, whenever I have it flare up, it doesn't seem to bother it too bad, and it seems to knock it out pretty good. But if it's starting to get bad, I would switch over and do the aloe vera liquid, you know, and just drink some of the liquid.
Thank you.
Yeah. Keep me posted on that.
Will do.
If that doesn't work, we'll find something else for you. I mean, we have some notes in here that we can post that's for indigestion, a little bit of heartburn, that you can go through and do the breathing cycles. But sometimes that's a little bit more of a long-term treatment. And so, like, if you're needing to put the fire out, if you just have some of that aloe vera juice in your fridge and, you know, drink a little bit, it usually will take it out.
Thank you.
You're still welcome.
Peter?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Greg. Hey, I've been dealing with indigestion problems for a little while, most of the year here, and I've tried a lot of different things.
Have you found something that worked?
Yeah, the latest, with the latest flare-ups I've had in the last month or so, what I've been doing is ginger, really strong ginger tea.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then also just literally chewing the raw ginger seems to,
And that knocks it out.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
tremendous.
Wow.
Okay. That's good. I'm gonna actually make note of that.
Well, it's in our ginger tonic is our digestive tonic, and so that has the raw apple cider vinegar and the ginger extract and Greg's ginger oil in it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've tried a lot of different things. I mean, chronic healing helped a whole lot in the beginning. And
Mhm.
also, I think just doing your oil classes a lot has helped, just kind of like in general. But I've tried like what you suggested too, is aloe juice, the really expensive raw aloe juice. And
Right.
that seems to be very energizing. Sometimes it's a little bit too strong.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I've also tried the apple cider vinegar, the raw apple cider vinegar, and that also, along with or lemon, helps a little bit too. But ginger seems to be the most potent.
Consistent.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
There was one person who said that, like, if they were getting heartburn like at night right before they'd go to bed, they would eat. It was like an old folk remedy: is you eat a slice of an apple, not the whole apple, just like a
Oh.
slice,
Yeah,
and they would knock it out.
yeah.
And-
Last summer, I read about a testimonial about the guy's father used to eat an apple every day, and it kind of knocked it out. And I've noticed too when I eat apples that it really helps because I love apples. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, tremendous. Good. I'm gonna make note of that actually.
do you want to start or do you want to go?
Yeah.
through more
Another
questions?
question if you want.
So I have. Go ahead, Sabine.
You, Greg, I noticed that Susan typed in the question about a quarter teaspoon of baking soda for arthritis. It's kind of, I'm really curious about that and what exactly.
I don't know anything about that one. What is it?
A teaspoon of baking soda for arthritis?
Do we know what kind of arthritis?
General, I think in general, arthritic type of conditions. Joint.
Well, there's some that are like weight bearing joints where the cartilage is degenerated, and then there's some that's like rheumatoid arthritis where like the hands and feet start to get a little bit deformed. It's actually an autoimmune disorder.
Okay.
And so, and then the one associated with psoriasis is also autoimmune. So there's different kinds. And so if it's just, is it like in your nips, your knees and hips? I'm
Yes.
starting to combine two words there. Your nips, knees and hips,
Yeah.
or is it in your hands? And okay, so it's probably osteoarthritis. Yeah, anything that stimulates lymphatic function there, and you want to increase blood supply to the joint. The reason that the cartilage in the knees and the hips and the back start to go, is usually there's some spasms in the area that have reduced blood flow to the particular area, and then that area gets kind of toxic. And so what happens is your cartilage doesn't have its own blood supply, and so it's drawing upon the blood in the surrounding tissue. And when there's not a good blood supply going into the area, it basically starts to dehydrate and become arthritic and break down. So arthritis could be cartilage breaking down. It could be deposits in the joint where they're spurring. There can be synovial issues, which is like the lubrication. The membrane can become very inflamed. And so there's actually different components to treating arthritis. But I mean, the rule of thumb for osteoarthritis, which is what you're talking about, is you decrease spasms in the area, and then you stimulate lymphatic function in the area, because the thing is at first that area becomes a little bit toxic because of poor blood supply, and you're not removing the waste product from the joint. And then over a period of time, because of the inflammation and the inflammatory material and everything, it keeps accumulating. The lymphatic system becomes more and more stagnant. And at some point, the lymph stagnation, the lymphatic issue becomes systemic, like it becomes like all over the body. It's usually not when there's still cartilage. That usually doesn't happen until the issue is bone on bone. And so when it's bone on bone, you still can go a pretty long time for addressing that, as long as the lymph stays moving. And so you're doing spasms, lymphatic function, and increasing blood to the area, you know, increasing blood to the joint. And so, you know, things like rosemary and cedar and juniper and pine, those are all good. Sylvester pine is really good because it has a component in it that helps to stimulate cortisone and helps to reduce the inflammation. Anything that's good for lymphatic function is always good for those particular areas. And then any sort of antispasmodic, either applied topically or taken internally. If it's really bad, I like to do both actually. I also, that's another condition that I would have a person take some black cumin internally just to keep the inflammatory material down and reduce inflammation. You can do a mix of black cumin, frankincense, myrrh, and turmeric all together. That's a really good combination for reducing the potential for inflammation, keeping the blood relatively clean, and then just make sure that the person's also getting sufficient sleep. You know, that's one of the things that can happen if they're starting to have a painful joint pain, or the sleep can start to be compromised. And so that starts a whole nother range of issues that start to pop up. And so is the hip or knee bone on bone, or you're not there yet?
Not there yet.
Oh, tremendous. Like if you put like rosemary, juniper, pine, cedar on that area daily, it will slow it down immensely. The other thing that I like to do for osteoarthritis is just to keep the inflammation reduced, is you can get this digestive enzyme from the health food store. It's a little bit expensive, but it's worth it. Try just a small bottle of it first to see if it works for you. And if it doesn't work, then you're not into a big bottle, you know, but you can try it at first. You can get on Amazon or go to your local health food store. Almost everybody carries it, but it's in the section usually where they're selling the things for arthritis and soft tissue issues. And the enzyme is by this company called Wobazyme, like WOBEZYME. And this enzyme, you know, it's digestive enzymes, but instead of taking it with your meal, you take it in between your meals. And it acts a lot like Advil would. You know, it reduces inflammation. It helps your body bounce back from the inflammation and the wear and tear in the joint. And it's not hard on your gut the way ibuprofen or you know, acetaminophen, or you know, whatever you're using to manage it would be. And it also helps your digestion. So I mean, it's a really great way to reduce some of the effects for that, and keep it comfortable. And then you know, I usually have people also augment that with putting like maybe 3 drops or so of Sylvester pine on the wrist, just because of the effects it has on cortisone and hormones. And so, you know, if you hit the site, you do that, you take the Wobazymes or the black cumin, you can buy a lot of time with osteoarthritis. You know, you can buy a lot of time. And sometimes, you really slow it and stop it right in its tracks. If there's still cartilage there, you got something to work with. But once the cartilage is gone, it becomes a little bit rougher. Then you're really starting to manage a lot of inflammation.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Another question?
Cindy?
Hey, Cindy.
No?
I do have a question, but I was gonna comment on what she was asking with the baking soda. My grandfather.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, so I have to pass on.
It was just more anecdotal that
Mhm.
my grandfather was a butcher, so he was always in and out, cook the freezers. So every day he would drink a little glass of water with some lemon and baking soda in it to keep him from getting arthritis. And I mean,
Really?
he
Wow,
lived
wow.
late into his 80s and never had arthritis. So there's something to it.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. The only thing that I was aware of where people were doing things with internally taking baking soda was athletes were doing something with it to buffer lactic acid. So,
That makes sense.
yeah.
The question I had was about St. John's wort and the liver and taking medications. I'm not quite clear on if it really impacts or negates, like if you're taking a medication and that it cleans out the liver so much.
It can. Yeah. It
Okay.
really can. Yeah.
If it's too much for tonight, that's fine too. I was just
No, it's one of because people still want to use it sometimes, and so I always tell them try to do it at the opposite end of the medication, or it depends on the kind of medication it is. Sometimes we have to switch to something different, but say you're taking one of your medications during the day, take the St. John's wort at night, and then because by morning you'll re-up the med, but try to stick to maybe just a drop.
So
that St. John's wort that I get, it's a pharmaceutical grade out of Europe, and the St. John's wort that's in the US has a different growth cycle, and I mean it's literally probably twice as strong, if not even a little more, than the American St. John's wort. And so I mean St. John's wort, the reason why it works so well is it is a really good blood purifier. And I mean, it drains medications just out of people's system. And so, even the thing with the chemo situation earlier, when people have gone through surgery and everything, I sometimes won't even use the St. John's wort in those situations, just because they still might be on medications for a period of time and everything. And I don't want to do anything that would counteract their medications. And so I usually don't even put that one on the table until they're far along and stepped away from medications, and if they're on medications for other reasons, then I just don't even put it on the table.
So on the backside of that, someone who's trying to to stop using medications they shouldn't be using, such as drugs, alcohol, would that be helpful?
Yeah, it's I mean, because it does a lot of things. It's a blood purifier. It helps to get the substances out of the system, and it's one of the best things for releasing both physiological emotions and psychological emotions, and it has a cleansing effect on the mental body somewhat. And so, I mean, it works really great for things like depression and things like that because of all those components. And if you're trying to get somebody off of that, I think it's a good idea. I mean, from time to time, I'll go through like a week or so where I'll go through and do a daily dosage of St. John's wort just for like a quarterly like kind of maintenance.
Mhm.
I think it works tremendous. But
So you might
you
have
know,
to take a drop internally once a day.
yeah. Like if they're on medications, 1 drop is pushing it. Like just do a drop. But if they're not on medications, usually I do 3 drops a day.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
technically, he's supposed to be on an antidepressant, but he's not taking it, and he does the marijuana and drinks too much. So, I
Yeah.
was just
So the thing with when they're using, like, is he a daily user or just like a weekend user or
pretty daily.
pretty daily, like multiple times a day?
I would say probably when he gets home from work to the rest of the evening. Not every day, but he does it every day.
Okay. Like if it's like daily use, like occasional use or weekend use doesn't have this issue, but like daily use or like multiple times a day can throw off their serotonin. And so the serotonin levels get off. St. John's wort is actually also helpful for that as well. But if they're on other like serotonin reuptake inhibitors and things like that, they shouldn't do St. John's wort either. Like,
Okay. Well, I'm
complicate things too much.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. You can do things as long as there's not a lot of inflammation in the body. You can augment the going off the THC with you can use the St. John's wort and you can put them on there's again a thing from the health food store called 5-HTP, right? It's usually in the section for sleep, and it helps to improve the quality of sleep, but it increases serotonin levels, and serotonin eventually turns into melatonin, and so that's why they use it for sleep. But there's one drawback of using the 5-HTP is if there's a lot of inflammation in the body or there's a lot of white blood cell activity, like just basically inflammation or an inflammatory process or autoimmune condition, anything like that, when you start taking the 5-HTP, sometimes the 5-HTP will make the white blood cells dump what they're like carrying or what they're dealing with. And there becomes like an inflammatory, like kind of crisis that can happen. So if the person's prone to a lot of inflammation, don't do the 5-HTP. You can go about doing the serotonin in other ways that are slower, but more stable.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Greg, it's Laura.
Hey, Laura.
I have, and I'm going to mispronounce it, Duprenture or whatever. It's where my fingers are starting to curl. Northern European ancestry is what I was told.
Like they're going like this?
Yeah, I've got some that are starting to do. My pinky is.
Your pinky. Does it have little nodules on it or anything?
It in the palm of my hand it does, yes.
So what do they say? Do you ever get like a trigger finger or anything like that?
No, not yet. He said it may. He said he
In May. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so here's the thing that you want to do. You want to rotate 2 things. You want to use things that are antispasmodic on the forearms. You can do it on the hands as well, but you want to use something like basil, marjoram, petitgrain, something of that nature, right? Then, and you can put that on just like neat, but then you're going to take, and you can put it in either an alcohol base or you can put it in,
I just wanted to be able to see your arm as you talk.
oh, okay, gotcha. So you're putting either an alcohol base or massage oil base, like the Tamanu blend or something. You're going to take something like the ironbark eucalyptus or Eucalyptus citrodora, or the fancier thing would be arthricaire or lovage. Lovage is probably the strongest, but all of it will work. And basically what is happening a lot of times when you're prone to trigger fingers is you're getting like crystalline deposits, but instead of landing in the joints, they're landing on the tendons, right? And so what happens is like the tendon and sheath should be sliding like this, but it starts to get all these like little crystalline deposits, and then there's tension. And so what happens is they get stuck and they can't move freely in that area. And so you want to reduce the spasms, and then you want to break up the deposit so that the body goes through and processes that. And the reason that I like lovage is lovage does a couple of things. Is it breaks up the deposits, you know, but so does the iron bark and so does the Eucalyptus citrodora. But the lovage will make the kidney function better. It reduces a little bit of inflammation in the kidney and makes it function better so that it stops producing the deposits in the joints. So
Do you
it's
take it internally?
no, you actually would put it on topically. You could take it internally for the kidneys, but for the for the hands with the curling, you're wanting to actually apply it topically, like in the hands, but you're really wanting to get it up on the forearm, because the issue is a little bit in the hand, but it's actually more in the forearm. You
So
know,
what
it's
about
more
the
in these.
antispasmodic? Would that be
Yeah,
in the,
that would work. Put that on there and then rotate it with one of those other ones for the deposits. And that should be good. Now, if you want to augment that, one of the things that you can do to augment that is get some flax oil. Like you can get it in capsules, or you can get it, the capsules last a lot longer. The flax oil itself, you know, it as soon as you open it, it doesn't have a very long shelf life. But so either way, but you can take the flax oil and just take like a teaspoon a day, and it helps to lubricate the tendon in the sheaths. And so the reason why that's catching is you have those deposits, but you're also having a little bit of an issue with synovial fluid. And so the flax will help lubricate the tendon and sheath and make everything more lubricated, so it becomes easier to move your hands around.
perfect, thank you.
Yeah. That should really, and keep me posted. That a lot of times that just right there will knock it out. But you know, you have like a genetic predisposition, so we might have to crank it up a notch. But I mean, that's a really good place to start. A really good place.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, you're still.
There are chat questions, but if you want to get started, just let me know.
We'll take maybe one or two more, and then we'll jump into starting to do the digestive stuff.
I have a cavity, oral/dental health support oils.
For what part? The cavity is not going to get repaired because the tooth is already dead. But is there like infection, or you're just trying to prevent things from further happening? Or go ahead and speak up or unmute yourself.
Support plus prevention, future prevention, I think.
Yeah, prevention. You know, you could go a couple of different ways. You know, a lot of times I like to also do, because like the mouth is one of the dirtiest parts of the body. And so stimulating lymphatic function in the mouth is really, really super helpful. So things like, you know, tea tree is helpful, myrrh is helpful, but one of the things that I like to use is things like basil, bay laurel, but fennel. I really like to use fennel in the mouth. Fennel can be really super helpful for that. And so you can just put it in the mouth as like a gargle, or you can rub it on some of the gums. If the gums are becoming a little like spongy, like, you know, they're like bleeding or getting a little spongy, you can rub some cypress on the gums and then put a couple drops of cypress in water and drink it. And a lot of times that will knock it out. If it's still a little bit of an issue with the spongy gums and you know, because the spongy gums, or if they're getting inflamed, it allows for more bacteria to grow and to get deeper in towards the root of the teeth. And so if there's a lot of bleeding in the gums, like when you brush your teeth and things like that, take some vitamin C or some quercetin, which is actually better to take. Quercetin, which is Quercetin, like take 2 or 3 capsules a day. That will help to stabilize that, because the bleeding is actually showing that you're a bit vitamin C deficient. And so the tendency is for you to start getting more inflammation in some of the areas like the gums, the eyes, things like that. And so mucous membranes usually get impacted first with depleted vitamin C. Your body doesn't store vitamin C. So if you're not getting it in daily, then you're starting to have depletion.
Go ahead,
Malkia.
Yeah,
Malkia?
Malkia. Sorry, I got in such a bad habit. So I'm calling you
That's
wrong.
okay. Everybody has problems with the name. Just a quick question to clarify. You said flax oil. So do you mean flax oil or flaxseed oil?
Yeah, flaxseed oil. Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to clarify. Okay, thank you.
And I mean, you can also just do flax seeds. Like, take a spoonful of flax seeds and put them in your mouth. Don't chew them, and then just wash them down with water, because they'll break down really fast because they have a lot of oil in them. So, I mean, that's a very inexpensive way to do it. I mean, flax oil is not super expensive, but I mean, still cheaper. And so it works. The flax seeds work really well that way.
Because I've had like 6 trigger finger surgeries in the past, and I'm starting to get restrictive. Sometimes my fingers just tighten up.
Yeah, you're probably having the same kind of issue. Yeah, I would do the same kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. That's why I was taking notes, and I wanted to clarify exactly what, because I did look up quickly on Amazon, and there is a flax oil, and there's a flaxseed oil. So I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're so lucky. Maybe one more and then we'll jump in.
Okay, so the next one on the list was, is there a class that does the endocrine system, works the endocrine system?
We haven't taught one this year, but next year we are going to teach one on the endocrine system. It's just, the hard thing with it is it's complicated. It's very, very complicated, but the endocrine system is not like treating other systems. You really have to treat it generally and then treat it specifically, because all the glands are kind of working with each other, and so it's not as clear cut as treating some of the other conditions. Okay, so let's start talking about digestion. So right off the bat, a lot of times when we're starting to look at digestion issues, and there's a whole range of things that we could be talking about, but let's just start talking about with things like constipation, sluggish digestion, starting to have even some cramping, things like that. One of the things that happens a lot with the digestive tract is, for one, it can become toxic from poor lymphatic movement, right? And then 2, a lot of times what people see as food sensitivities or food allergies or like an intolerance of sorts, a lot of it's poor nerve innervation, which means that the nerves are not firing to the organs like they should. It's a lot like when your foot goes to sleep. You feel your foot go to sleep, and then it starts to come back to, and it kind of hurts a little bit, and then boom, it starts functioning again. Well, the difference is your smooth muscle in your digestive tract doesn't have the same sensory nerves that your foot does, and so if it goes to sleep or the nerves aren't firing to that area, there's no way for you to know that that's happening, because you could open up the abdomen and start cutting on organs and you wouldn't feel a thing. You don't feel that. Now, if it's cramping or twisting or there's pressure, that you feel. But when things aren't firing right, it just starts to cause a lot of digestive issues. And so one of the things you do right off the bat is with poor digestion, you're also seeing a little bit of like nervous tension or nervousness, restlessness, like maybe low grade anxiety. You might not, it's so low grade sometimes, you might not even realize that it's there until it's gone, right? And then you, in a way, you could say it is a stress related condition. Now, when we're talking about stress, you have to take into account that there's mental stress, there's emotional stress, and then there's physical stress. And a lot of times we can feel good emotionally and mentally, not feel very stressed out, but your body is still getting stressed out. Your body is still having a stress response. Emotionally and mentally, you might not be bothered by the situation at all, but your body, you know, for whatever reason is having a response. And so with that, stress upsets the same part of the nervous system that fires into the gut, right? And so stress-related issues a lot of times hit the gut really super hard. And so one of the things that we want to do is we want to calm down some of the effects and then start trying to rehab the gut so that the digestion starts to improve. If you're having constipation and then, you know, swinging to a polarized like diarrhea from time to time, or you know, being normal and then having a little bit of constipation, we want to again take down the tension in the gut. Now, the thing is, this is such a profound thing that a lot of times there are certain ways of reducing anxiety, and one of them is to actually calm down the smooth muscle in the gut. I mean, that's how much it can impact your emotions in your mind or your nervous system. Like if there's some tension there, it actually starts to make you feel a little bit anxious. It can make you feel start to have anxiety. It can make you start to have a little bit of insomnia. A whole bunch of things can happen. And so with that, you're looking at digestion, but at the same time, you're looking at how the nerves are hitting the digestive tract, right? So you're still dealing with kind of nervous system / digestion, or lymphatic function / digestion, right? And so we're going to go through and just do a little bit of a blanket protocol. We're going to still expand on this the next time we get together. And we'll kind of continue to hit some of this, and then I'll give it to you guys in a little booklet form with some notes to augment different conditions and different things you can do with that from the health food store and things like that. So you know, it's something you can use for yourself, or if you're starting to treat people, you can kind of open up the little booklet and just jump right in, right? So right off the bat, we are going to do, remember in the sleep class and the ones that did the class this last weekend for the self-protection class, there is a segment there where we utilize the Tarragon technique from the sleep class, right? And so this technique is really good for a lot of things. It calms down your sensory nerves. It helps to reduce anxiety and some of the restlessness, and it helps to reestablish the 4 levels of sleep, you know, the 4 cycles of sleep. And so we're going to go through and do that, and then we're going to hit stress, and then we're going to go directly to the digestive tract itself. So right off the bat, if you could pull out Tarragon, like just choose one of these. If you have Tarragon, if you have benzoin, Phenol will also work, anise or anise, however you want to say it, and also hyssop. Hyssop would work. Blends would be Nervine blend, stillness, tranquility, and serenity. So just choose one of those for this protocol. And if you don't have one of those, let us know and we'll see if we can come up with something for you.
Are all of them just A choices? Any A+ choices?
Tarragon, it's called the Tarragon technique. So probably Tarragon is your best one. That and Serenity and Tranquility are probably your A+ choices. Okay. So notice how you feel, notice your emotions, and notice your mind right now. Okay, so now begin inhaling. Your awareness is on your throat. Yeah, it would work. Keep inhaling. Your awareness is on your throat. Move your awareness down to your throat minor, the bottom of your throat. Your back throat, so the middle of the back of your neck. Now go to your jaws, where the jaw hinges right in front of the ear canal, the hole in your ear. your temples. Doesn't matter to me. So the back of your head, opposite your eyebrows on the back side. And your forehead. Your awareness is on your forehead. Just be still. Let go of everything. Just be still for a moment. We're going to do the same pattern. So again, begin inhaling. You're using the same oil. Begin inhaling with your awareness on the throat. Throat minor, the bottom of the throat. The back of the throat. So the middle of the back of your neck. The jaw minors. Your jaws. Your awareness is on your jaws. Your temples. Your back head. Opposite your eyebrows on the back side. And then your forehead. Okay, just be still. You should find this a little bit relaxing, hopefully. We are also going to do an extended version of this, and there's going to be another application added to the Tarragon technique. It's the extended long version. And so you're going to use the same oil you're using. Begin inhaling. Your awareness is between your eyebrows. Continue to inhale with your awareness on the eyebrows. Go down to your throat. Drop down to your throat minor, which is the little notch between your two collarbones. Go to the cheek minors, right under the cheekbones, directly under the center of your eyes. Bless you. The cheeks, cheek minors. Keep inhaling on the cheeks. Go to the jaw minors. Again, where the jaw hinges in front of the ear. Slide just to the ear canal, the hole in your ear. Put your awareness there. Take some long, slow, deep breaths. Go to the back heart. Move your awareness to the front solar plexus, so below your ribs, on that upper abdomen area. Long, slow, deep breaths. Move your awareness to the back solar plexus, which is your mid-back area. Just be still. Now that we've done that, the next step is for us to go through and treat some of the stress that directly impacts the digestive tract. So you're going to still use the same oil that you're using. Tarragon works really well for this. Basil also works well for this. The blend ANS support works well. Even galbanum will work.
But for them, they can just keep using.
You can just keep using the same oil you're using. Yeah. Okay, so front solar plexus again. Long, slow, deep breaths. Move to your back solar plexus. So your mid-back area. Move your awareness to the back heart, that area between your shoulder blades. Move your awareness to the hips, the side of each of your butt cheeks, like where the dimple would be on the side. Really, in this particular phase, you can even put your awareness on just the whole hip itself, just to take the tension out of your hips or your butt cheeks. Like there's a lot of tension that gets held there. Now go to your cervical spine. So the bones in your neck, put your awareness on the area around the bones in your neck. Long, slow, deep breaths. The upper spine, the bones in between your shoulder blades. Your thoracic spine, your mid-back area, the bones in and around your mid-back. Just be still, be aware. Just close your eyes and see how you're feeling. Okay, now we're going to just tackle the digestive tract. And so you can actually still use the same oils that you're using. We'll provide you a list of other things that can be used, but we're going to jump right into this. Okay, so you're still using the same oil. Did you already post that other one?
No.
Okay, let me send you another one because I caught a typo and I added a couple. Begin inhaling. Your awareness is on your front solar plexus.
Do you want me to post here even the other options for this one, or just have them stay doing this?
You can just let them look at it. Okay, so begin, or you're inhaling with your awareness on the front solar plexus. Move to your back solar plexus. Now go to the left-hand side, below the ribs, off to the side, the front and back spleen area. So right here on the front and back area, below your ribs. Do front and back at the same time. You're moving your awareness to the navel. Move your awareness 1.5 inches below your navel. Now go to your tailbone, the basic chakra, the bottom of your tailbone. It's marked, it's not really this one. And now move your awareness to the liver. Right hand side below the ribs. Long, slow, deep breaths. Keep inhaling with your awareness on the liver. Okay, just be still, just let everything go for a moment. Just be still. Now we're going to just take down the tension in the gut just a little bit more. It's going to be the same pattern. Let's have you choose a different oil this time. Lemongrass would work. If you haven't used tarragon, you could use tarragon for this, but if you've been using tarragon, let's switch it up a little bit. Bergamot mint, it's not bergamot, but bergamot mint actually would work for this. Anise would work for this, even lavender, clary sage would work. Ginger would work really good for this as well.
If I can copy paste the last one you just sent, would that work?
Sure. The one that says notes.
I did a little paste in the chat room for you guys.
Okay, so I think we're good. So let's go ahead. Begin with your awareness on your front solar plexus.
Would coordinate work as a mint?
No. Yeah. Oh, take that back. Yeah, it would work. It would work. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Move your awareness to the back solar plexus. Now go to the front and back spleen on the left-hand side below the ribs. Down to your navel. An inch and a half below your navel. And the bottom of your tailbone. Okay, just be still, be aware. Okay, let's have a little feedback. How are you guys feeling? Pay attention to your emotions. Pay attention to your mind, your body, your gut. How are you feeling? You feel a little bit more relaxed? Emotions feel calmer, mind's a little bit quieter, body tension has gone down. You can go ahead and unmute yourself or type it in.
Emotions, oh, blissed out, emotions calm, mind and gut feel more energized.
Yeah, good.
Very calm and mellow, super relaxed, feel peaceful, Feel much, much better. Very relaxed. Relaxed, but not sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel actually really
Like you feel
clear.
relaxed, but it's just like, you're like, yeah, might take me a minute to get up out of the chair, but I could get up and do something, where sometimes some of the things we're doing, it's just like knocks you out. Where this is just, it takes a bunch of tension out of your body. You know, it takes tension out of your emotional body, your mental body. It takes a bunch of tension out. And so it's a good little combo, really good combo.
I must say, I confess, I was so relaxed, I started choking on saliva. My relaxed
Yeah,
it so
I've
much
done that.
it was like, oh, buddy,
I've done that.
I'm embarrassed to say, but
But I've done that, where you're like, you go to swallow and you're like, "Yeah, I can't even finish the mechanism." Yeah.
Thank you.
My baby.
But you can see how much tension in your gut is some of your body tension, and we think of it as being like muscular tension, but that restlessness, or sometimes when you're sleeping at night and you're kind of fidgety and restless, and you got like just like it's not that you're nervous, but there's like a nervousness. You know what I mean? Your body's not able to wind down. Sometimes it's your gut. You know, it's the smooth muscle in the gut. You know, here we went through and we actually even did the respiratory tract, which is also smooth muscle, and then we also did the gut. And so, I mean, we took a bunch of tension out of a lot of the smooth muscle in your body, and so it just allows for you to just like let go.
All of the above. Yeah, calm.
Yeah.
My baby Ruth is digesting very easily.
Good for you. That is hysterical.
My mind feels calm amidst some personal turbulence that I'm currently experiencing.
Good.
This is really helping me cope.
And if you think about it, even the thing with like, we just got through doing the protection class over the weekend. A lot of times when people are projecting stuff at you, where are they projecting? Usually your basic and your solar plexus, which is hitting your gut. So tension from other people, stresses, agitation from other people, just difficulties, it hits our digestive tract really hard. This is why it's kind of, digestive issues can be a little bit, I don't want to say difficult to treat, but they're just, you have to approach digestive issues as being multifaceted, because you have potential lymphatic issues, you have potential autonomic nervous system issues, which is what we just treated. You have some potential sleep issues, you have a little bit of anxiety. They're all kind of coming from things that are overlapped in the same area, but you have to treat them a little bit differently. And so sometimes when you hit one, you're not hitting all of it. And so we're trying to lay out a protocol so you can go through and unwind a bunch of your digestive stuff before you even get in and really try to fine tune something specific. So next time we do our session, we will do a little bit more building on this. And we'll give some other information about some digestive issues and some other things to do to augment your treatments. But, it's one of the one things that I really wanted to tackle next, because a lot of people are asking questions in the emails about digestive issues.
The gut feels calm, unfamiliar, but I like this feeling.
Yeah, good.
Very mellow, was somewhat stressed at the beginning, but I'm very mellow now.
Good.
Can we ask unrelated questions?
He has a minute.
I only have I only have 1 minute. Is it a quick question or a long one?
No, just to clarify something you said earlier.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
said ironbark, eucalyptus, lovage on the forearm with tamanu.
Right.
That's for the trigger finger?
Right. That's to reduce the deposits in the tendons and muscle in the forearm.
Then what did you say about basil, marjoram, and petitgrain?
You rotate that, like you can put it on just neatly at a different time or before and let it sit for a couple minutes, because that will take the muscle tension out, and then you got to treat the deposits.
Okay, and what did you say strengthens the kidneys?
Lovage.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
All right, Greg does have an
Okay,
8 o'clock.
so next week I'm going to be traveling on Tuesday, so we will not be able to do our Tuesday, Wednesday thing next week. So I'm traveling 3 different places in the middle of the week next week for meetings and things. So we'll have to be back on in 2 weeks. So apologize for that, but we'll be back on in 2 weeks, and yeah, we'll see you then.
Thank you.